there said that the revelation was that I can pretty much do anything.
Yeah.
Like I guess is the caveat there? I just need to spend time doing it.
Yeah. So, what I really think anyone should understand is that learning is a superpower.
This isn't weird world. Because I already like Adderall all the time. So I was like, oh, this is Adderall for the body. I can just run around for hours. So there was a time when I was talking to Seuss at work. Yeah, and you were telling me how there are just see. See, man, people are so fascinating. Just the fact that is the same thing as you playing Smash.
Yeah.
For people that will be listening, Super Smash Brothers. The fact that you can move a Rubik's Cube that way is crazy.
And that wasn't even like that's what happens when I grab one of these. I do this specific permutation. This is the T permutation. So if you look at
the what?
T permutation.
The T permutation.
Yeah, so if I do it, you can see, so these two corners switch.
Yeah.
And then this middle one switched with this. So it's like a T.
How long have you been playing with Rubik's Cube? Like, did you grow up with that?
It was like a second, third grade thing.
So now see that's what's fascinating about puzzles. And just life in general, because I'm certain that most of this conversation is going to revolve around art and expression. I can already sense it. I already feel it. What you see when you look at that is very different than what I'm looking at. Mm-hmm. Like you're looking at a very different tool than I am.
Yeah.
I have no idea how that works.
Yeah. Because so to me, it looks like this. That's it. It's just these three layers, right? And that's all I see when I see it. But people will see, if I like mix this up, people will just see like, colors on colors. But I'm looking at it like this. I'm looking
three
at
different tiers,
just like that.
Okay,
right. So like to get like super simple with it, like you solve it layer by layer. So you solve the first layer, usually like the white side, and then the middle, and then the top.
Solving it layer by layer. But even in solving the layers, you have to correspond with the other layers.
Yeah. So it's so like even with this, it's so for the first two layers, it's generally kind of the same thing every time. You just do like this, you put the same pieces where they go, whatever. People are really good at doing all the steps. If you can like take the steps and like make them into one step and just kind of do it just like really quickly all in one. That's how people get faster, right? So like people,
this is smart people talk.
There's a cross, right?
Yeah.
If I want to put this corner in, like I'll put it like that, right? But if I wanted to skip a step and then also put this in, which is like as far as I have gotten pretty much, I would like do that and then I have them in together.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. And then
that's crazy.
Like even this can be like ridiculously expressive because so people will do that in such a way that they get the last layer to be as simple as possible for them, or they know exactly what's going to happen for the last layer. So they can like just get right to it and not have to think about what they have to do. So even that is just like,
you said that there was a. Let's try to keep. I was going to keep this relatively in front of you, so you can like. So when you're talking over here, it's very different than Do you play with puzzles? Like like do you do 100-piece puzzles, 500-piece puzzles? You've done those, right? Okay. Yeah. I did a Harry Potter one yesterday with Von Marie. Probably the first puzzle I've done in a very long time, if ever. It's fascinating using these itty-bitty pieces that don't look like much of anything. Clearly, you connect it to the bigger picture. But even as you're looking at the box, like I thought that I was going to pull the box out with the picture on it and it was just going to give everything away. I was like, oh, then I'm just going to put it together like very quickly. It did not work that way for me. Like I thought that was just going to be a cheat code and I was just going to automatically just start putting them together.
Yeah.
because you're looking for someone's face, or you're looking for like a shoe, or you're looking for like all these things, but those little pieces are not representative of that picture for real. Like you can only see it once you start putting them together. Yeah. And I was just sitting there doing it, and I'm like, yo, people that do puzzles, like this is like it's fascinating to be able to have the sight to do the puzzles. Yeah. And you talk about it being expressive. You said that there are people that can look at Rubik's cubes, Rubik's Cube, what do you call them? Permutations or
the like scrambles?
The scrambles. And you can just know that was a famous scramble from fucking 1982.
Yeah. So there's like the Rubik's Cube guy, his name is Felix Zemdegs. He's like some Australian guy, right? And there's one video of him getting like the world record back in like, I have no idea, maybe like 2013, 14, something like that.
Just world record meaning fastest.
Yeah. So there's like different types of these and everything, right? So there's just like the most normal, like just 3x3 single world record. There's like single and then average, right? So average is like you take like an average of 10, and then if you have the fastest average for that, that's that versus like the single, right? So that scramble, like people just know it. Right. And they're like, there's a video that I used to watch a bunch where this guy, who's like another, like he's very talented, right? But like nowhere near the level of like Felix. He went through it and was like explaining it very slowly, like what Felix was seeing, what his like thought process was when seeing the scramble and like what to do with it. So like people study that.
You said a scramble, by the way, is computer generated?
Yeah, just so it's like super random.
Yeah. Wow. How many? I mean, because there has to be like a number, right? Because
of like different scrambles.
Yeah, like
it's like 5 quintillion or something.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. But like the thing with it is like if you start with the white side, right? The farthest the white piece can be is over here, right? Like.
Well, yeah.
It's not that. It's like every single scramble is like the same level of like difficulty. Right.
Yeah. Because
unless because like some of the scrambles are like,
You're right. Because they're only, but so it's right there. It's all right there.
Yeah.
It can only be right so here. Far away.
It can only be right there. That messed up. Yeah. And then I have another one that I think you might find really silly.
What are you pulling out of this bag? Only great things have come out of this bag so far. And what are you?
It's not even solved. I hate like. The top layer on this one is like a pain in the ass.
So how many sides are there on a regular?
6.
So 6
and this
sides.
Is 12.
And that's 12.
This is called a Megaminx. Yeah.
Yo, you're so funny. Like you're just you're just running around the world just trying to solve the craziest of puzzles.
So I was like, I'm not super into this stuff anymore, right? But I used to be like hardcore, and I have like way more at home, right? So this goes up from like 2x2 all the way to, people like puzzle makers take pride in like the puzzle, like how big they can make a puzzle, right? But like generally for competition up to like 7x7, 8x8, but there's like up to like 20s probably.
Bro, that one, you said it's a what? A
Megaminx.
Megaminx.
Yeah. And then
ridiculous.
There's like, so this is the 3x3 version of this shape, right? So you can have the 4x4 version, which would be called a Pyraminx. So you take this and there'd like be an extra layer around. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous because people will solve these in like minutes.
Bro, this
will take me, if I just sit down and do it, this will maybe take me like 10-12 minutes, and people can just do it in like a minute.
That you can do that in half an hour's time?
Oh yeah. Because the thing with these is like once you like once you learn like the shape,
for me that's like a yearly project. I feel like I'd have to just sit around and just come back to that every now and again while I'm on the toilet. But
it's like this again is like a layer thing, right? So like this is a layer, And then you solve the next layers, and then these are technically like layers. Like they don't move like that, right?
Yeah.
But like you can kind of see where they are. Like these two correlate to like these two, correlate to these two, and then you have the top layer.
Wow.
Right. So the thing with these is like there's a bunch of different shapes. I have like a triangle one in my car. It's called a what was that one called? A pyraminx. Because pyramid.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Cool. So creative.
Yeah.
But the thing with those is like you find out the different shapes and the steps to take, and then when they get bigger and bigger, it's the same thing over and over. So to solve like the bigger ones of these, it's like the reduction method. So you solve it to basically make it into one of these, and then you solve it the same way as this.
You had an experience you just shared with us out there that said that the revelation was that I can pretty much do anything.
Yeah.
Like I guess is the caveat there? I just need to spend time doing it.
Yeah. So, what I really think anyone should understand is that learning is a superpower. Learning is like the greatest superpower you have. You can learn how to do anything you want if you take the right steps, right? So, like with these, if you wanted to learn about it, you would learn, okay, what's like the most basic way I can get it done? And then you just keep digging, right? And then you practice. Like with guitar, I was like, okay, show me a beginner YouTube video, right? And then you just keep on going and you practice. And when you don't think like you can do it or whatever, you just have to ignore that. It's like, cause there's people that are so much less capable than you that can do such incredible things, right? And that should be enough motivation. That should just be plenty of motivation.
Wow.
Cause like, I mean, how many hundreds of thousands of millions of guitar players are there that are amazing?
Yeah.
Right. And they're just people. There's millions of people that do this.
Yeah.
There's millions of people that like play Smash Bros.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I love those people. I've come across a few of them in my life. And these people, I mean, people that have kind of tapped into that. And they're just like, if I want to do it, like I'm just gonna start doing it.
Yeah.
I think that probably people are paralyzed constantly because there's so many different things to do and there's so many different ways to do them that you're just like, fuck it. I'm just gonna sit down instead.
Yeah.
Right. But to just take those necessary steps to do like one thing and then do the next thing and then just do the next, like Yeah, I guess anything you've ever gotten good at, if anyone asks you, like, how'd you get good at it, you're just like, well,
you say the same thing every time.
Yeah.
You tell them exactly how you got good at it. It's the same thing every time. And like, but what you said about how there's like just so many things to do. Yeah, I get it. It's a terrifying thought to be like, what should I do? There's so much. Like, what is
That's
my
wild.
strength? Like, what can I do?
It's wild that there's so many things to do that you might just do none of them.
Yeah. And then like, so the reason it hit me so hard when I made that realization is because this was like, I had like just gotten out of high school, right? And I was like, okay, I already like fulfilled my potential for anything I want to do, right? Like I was a track runner for a long time and I loved it. I poured my heart and soul into it. And I like, COVID had like its effect, whatever, but like I didn't go to college to run. And that kind of just like killed everything for me. But then I was like, I have so much time to do everything I'd ever want to do ever. Right. And I've been like another thing I want to do. I want to start like fighting soon.
Okay.
I can't wait.
Anything in particular? Like any style?
Yeah. So I want to.
You just said just fighting. I'm going to start fighting soon.
Oh, you mean like
Not even training,
I'm just gonna
learning.
go like out on the streets
Right.
and like just start fighting people.
We're gonna start fighting.
But I want to start. I think I'm going to start with like probably kickboxing.
Okay.
Because I was really interested in Muay Thai.
Get those elbows and knees
But
involved.
it is really scary and really dangerous.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think if at some point it's meant to happen, it's gonna happen, right? But I don't think I should just jump into it, just because that's a lot.
Like jumping into kickboxing?
No,
or just
jumping into like Muay Thai.
Oh, just Muay Thai.
Yeah, so I'm like, I should probably do something like a little more tame first.
Why did you decide you wanted to fight? Just watching a whole lot of anime. Just like,
Dude, yeah, my whole life, man.
I want to do that.
Whole lot. And then, so my friends definitely have an influence on it, right?
Like they fight?
No, but they're very interested in it. They talk about it a lot,
Oh, okay.
right? And it just seems like so. I was saying how track was like my thing, right? I loved it. I loved every aspect of it. The competition was like the most exhilarating thing ever. I still remember the day I won like a districts championship, right? Like the first like level of like competition.
What did you run?
I was a 300-meter hurdler.
Oh, okay.
So like I just remember if I could feel like that at like that low of a level of competition, like I love competition. I love competition. I love winning. I love winning, man. That's why this game is like brutal because I don't win. I don't win as
But you still love playing, though.
I still love playing.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's what we need more of, by the way. We need more of being able to love something without the winning. And I don't even necessarily mean in competition. I just mean, I think that we are, and I've definitely been a huge victim of this, like not done something because it wasn't going to go all the way.
Yeah.
Just like loving doing things.
Yeah.
Just having things around, having a guitar sitting around. Like if you want to learn how to draw or paint, even though it's going to fucking suck for a while because you have none of those artistic abilities right now. Just like painting some dumb shit or whatever, just because it's fun, you don't have to sell it, or anything like that. It's just like, this is just my dumb little house with all my dumb little hobbies and things, and I love doing them.
And like everything you do like that, even if it's not great by like a critic standard, right? It's still a completely valid form of you expressing yourself. And that's what I love about it. Cause it's like, I don't like the easiest example is to talk about like people that are like super critical of music and it'll be like, oh, like this album is like bad.
Yeah, let's talk about that. How do you feel about that? Oh boy.
I think, okay, there are times where that's applicable. Some people are just, some people are just like making shit to make shit, right? Like they don't really.
So that's the question I should ask. Is that when it's trash to you, when they're just making it simply to put something out for whatever?
I guess so.
Oh, okay.
But even then, like, I feel like it's just not worth talking about. Because like what's worth talking about is when people are putting like their whole being into a song or an album or anything. Because it's like, okay, like maybe you don't have that much like producing experience, right? And maybe it's really obvious that you don't have that experience, right? But your ideas are there and what you want to convey, if you want to convey it bad enough, you're gonna get it through. Which is what I'm telling myself because I really want to make music, and it's just like it's a rough start to get into it because I mean like the software is really hard to like get comfortable with and everything, and there's so much to learn. But I feel like if you're
software, like what exactly?
Just like the DAW I'm trying to use to make music. I'm using like Ableton.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Do people still use Fruity Loops? Nope, haven't even heard of that. Do you have an external MPC that you use? Like the thing that okay.
It's just like it's what my friend told me to buy. It's a red box that I plug my guitar into. Yeah. And it's just got like 12 buttons on it. Yeah. It's pretty sick. I mean, I love playing with it, right? Like I'm like, oh, I don't know anything that I'm doing, but this is awesome. Like,
all right. So the standard being not like your taste on how the music is being played or what the lyrics are, any of that, but the simple fact that some of it you feel like you can listen to from artists and you feel like it's uninspired and it's just kind of like thrown together. How do you feel about that conversation about consumers using that term? Because I've used it in the past and then I've questioned myself and thought, how do you know that it was uninspired? Like, what is that feeling that we have where we're just like, it doesn't seem like you care.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't seem like this one has like that motivation, like that strength behind it.
Yeah.
What is that?
I feel like a lot of the time it's really hard to tell. But one thing you can probably base it off of is if you've heard like that artist's music before. So that's like one thing.
I told you that person going off on Beyonce about about the country shit.
Yeah.
They were like, it sounds uncool, uninspired, unnecessary, unconfident.
I think just the fact that it's so different from her other stuff is like, that's inspired. She was inspired to make something completely different. Like, she's Beyonce. She doesn't have to make a country album.
She doesn't have to do anything.
She doesn't have to do anything.
Yeah.
She could have people waiting on her hand and foot all day, but she was like, you know what? I think I'll make a country album. Like, so, I mean, I still haven't even listened to it.
I haven't either.
I'm sure if I did,
I think there are only
like,
2 songs that have come out so far.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I know, like the
album
Texas Hold'em or whatever.
Yeah.
But I am like, if I listened to it, I would be like, okay, like, let me see what she was trying to do, right? Like, it's Beyonce. she has there's definitely a vision here. She has to like see, she has to know something I don't.
It's Beyonce. Yeah, there's a team over there. There's fucking Jay-Z. Like, I'm certain he listened to it a little bit. Like, yeah. Like,
it's not just gonna come out and be bad. You know? Like,
No.
But like, if it's just like someone that like for some reason has access to like a recording studio and they're like, oh, I can make money off of this. Like, okay, whatever. Like, you might be able to make something that sounds decent, right? But there, you have to want to really make something awesome to like make anything that sounds good.
What are you listening to right now that
Listening to so much right now
that inspires you?
Oh my gosh. Oh, that was the best question ever. Thank you for that. Right now I'm listening to a lot of J-rock, which is like
interesting. Okay.
Like Japanese like post-rock and shoegaze.
Oh, dude. J-rock.
Yeah.
I could have sworn I'm thinking about a motherfucker that raps on TDE with like J. Cole, well, not J. Cole, but Kendrick and Schoolboy Q. Yeah, that's J-rock to me.
Yeah.
Okay, you're talking about a whole different world.
Different world. Like, way
not
over
J-rock at all.
Yeah, like go east for a little.
Okay.
Yeah, so the one band I'm really loving right now is called Massive the Fermenting Dregs. Right.
Okay.
Like, what?
Yeah.
First of all, like, I had to look up what dregs meant. Do you know what that is?
No.
It's like, you know, when you make like a bunch of tea, like with the tea leaves, and then dregs are just like the leftover tea leaves.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Fun fact I have no idea what their name is supposed to mean. I haven't found.
Say it again.
Mass of the Fermenting Dregs.
Mass of the Fermenting Dregs. Okay.
But so I've been listening to them for a while. Listened to like maybe like 5 or 6 of their songs. And then recently one of my friends sent me a song by a different like 90s like Japanese post-rock group called Supercar, which is also, they're a fantastic group.
And you don't understand anything that these people say. Yeah. Okay.
No.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's my favorite
Sometimes I think that there's something in that. Because you might know the lyrics. Like, if you knew the language, it may suck for you. Like, it may make it worse.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But like with that, there's just like always like, I don't know what they're saying, but I swear I know what they're saying.
You know, you feel like you get the vibe.
I swear. Like, so he sent me the song Lucky, or not, he sent me the song You by Supercar, which made me remember that album. So I like listened to it again. And then there's a song called Lucky. And I went onto YouTube to find like a live video of that because I love watching live performances. So I went to that, went to the comments, and someone was like, oh, this is like the best like song of this genre of all time. And then someone replied to it with Sugar by Massive the Fermenting Dregs. And I was like, wait, I don't know that one. I listened to it and I was like, damn, like.
You know, music is interesting because it's unlike other art forms in that people will listen to the same songs, like songs that you collect and you love. You will listen to them over and over and over until you die. You don't, I mean, some people do like to watch films like that. Like, some people do have films and they know exactly what's coming and they just watch that shit like it's the first time every time, and they mouth the words that are coming and all that. But I don't know many people that are like constantly taking in new music, new albums, new genres, new artists over, because a lot of people have the songs that they like. And every now and again, there'll be some new songs that slip in from like an artist that they like, or maybe someone sends them a playlist or a song that they like. But on the search, like going through on Apple or Spotify or whatever it is you use, and you're constantly like just have a hunger for new music. There was a time when I decided I was listening to too much of the same music, and I was like, why I just keep listening? I was like, for I don't know how long I said, maybe like 3 months. I was like, I'm gonna every single time I listen to music, it's gonna be something I've never heard of ever. And so that's what I just did for like 90 days.
That's awesome.
Just every single time I played a song, it was something I never ever heard before.
Yeah.
Came across some gems.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, some Tony Bennett. I don't even know him. He's like old. He's like a Frank Sinatra type.
Okay.
Yeah. So he does some stuff and he's still singing. He's old as fuck.
Oh, wow.
He's like in his 80s or 90s and he's still doing his, standing in the middle of the stage singing with whomever, Aretha Franklin or John Mayer or Michael Bublé or whatever the case is. Just so much stuff. I told you Red Clay Strays. I think I told you I was listening to some folk stuff, some alternative folk. That's a really, really cool album.
I listened to something on the way here that I thought I would tell you about because of that. I remember I was telling you about something folky. I don't remember what I was telling you to listen to, but there's a Japanese guy. His name is like Shintaro Sakamoto, right? And he is like, you listen to his music, and sometimes when you listen to music, it's like, okay, this person has made a genre. Like no one else does this, right? Like this is this person's genre. He makes like the craziest like folky Japanese music,
really?
And it's like every time I hear a new song by him that I've never heard before, I'm like, oh, this is him.
Wow.
Yeah, he's like I like it, right? I like it. It's pretty good. But it's just like it's so cool to listen to because there's nothing else that I listen to that's like it.
See, that's interesting because a lot of the draw to folk music is the stories behind them, but you're not hearing a
no idea
word.
Yeah, no idea. I mean, because I mean,
that's great.
I guess I don't really even like listen to folk music, right? Like that, right? But I don't know. This guy is in like a lot, like, so like you were saying, like people are like when people are searching for music and everything, I feel like I'm always on the hunt for something new, right? Because I also realize like I'm never gonna find out all the songs I will like ever, right? It's infinite. It's just never ending.
Yeah.
Right. So what I'll do basically is like I'll listen to Spotify has really good ways of getting you new music. So I'll listen to a bunch of like different Spotify things for like, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 days, right? And I'll listen to those songs for a while, and I'll listen to like all the music that's already in my playlist, and then I'll be like, okay, nice, let's go again, like let's do another round, right? So I have like just like a massive collection of everything that I have ever liked, basically. It's fantastic. This playlist is like my baby.
Damn, man. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
I enjoy your love for art and music. You seem extremely like tapped in.
Yeah, and it's like you say that, and then I like think of the people I know that are like really tapped in, right? Yeah. And it's like
that's that effect we were talking about. Again.
Yeah,
like, there's always another tier, but that's kind of the crux of being able to enjoy that high you did, like when you won that district race, like knowing that it's very low level.
Yeah. But
it feels great to be there and to be doing.
That's a great point, because I feel like a lot of people, like we said this earlier for sure about being like if you're not the best at something, like why would you do it? Like if you know that people around you are like even better, like why would you do it, right? But I'm like, okay, I'm ready to make some trash music and love every second of the process.
Yeah, and
then people are gonna criticize it. Don't really care. Yeah. Right? Like you just got to do what you want to do, and you got to love what you want to love. Yeah. And it doesn't matter if it's if you're doing it wrong. If you're loving whatever the thing is wrong. Right? Because like a lot of the music I listen to, like it's like stoner music, or you got to be like this kind of person to like listen to, right? Or like every time I go and see like a concert, I'm like, yeah, I feel a little out of place sometimes, and I'm like, all right, like I'm here too, guys.
Yeah,
because like
Do you feel like you're getting looks from people sometimes, and people are looking at you like,
no
"What
one
the fuck is this guy?"
cares.
Yeah,
No one cares about you. Right?
Yeah.
That's like the other part of it. Like,
Right.
no one really gives a shit. Right?
Right.
People want to criticize because they feel like they're supposed to. They don't care about what you're doing. They want to criticize you because they know you're better. They're better than you. Right? Like,
Or maybe they're not.
or maybe they're not.
But people do just like to criticize.
Yeah, because or because maybe they know that people are better than them, and then it's like, all right, like whatever, man.
Yeah, there's levels. I think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves.
Yeah.
And again, I'll definitely say that that's me projecting. I've definitely put a lot of pressure on myself to. It's like, why, like you said, why do something if you're not going to do it to like the utmost or try to profit from it or whatever the case is, but just loving doing things is great.
Yeah.
Like books for me. I told you, Mark, I don't know if I told you, Mark got me 2 books.
Oh.
One was on Taoism and the other one was like this comedy book, which I didn't even know existed. Like,
I didn't know that existed.
Right. It's from a guy named John Kennedy Toole. He died. Well, he didn't die. He took his life in like the mid 60s or something like that. But you could tell through his writing, he's extremely brilliant guy. It's just like a very absurd story. It's just absurd all the way through. It takes place in New Orleans. It's about like this super fat dude that's just very inconsiderate and everyone hates him everywhere he goes. But it's just like his hilarious tales in a sense. And I'm reading this book, and I didn't know he got this for me for my birthday. I've never heard of this book. I wasn't expecting this book. I didn't ask for this book. I didn't know that this genre even existed. But I decided I was going to start reading it. And it's one of the first times in my life where I'm reading the book at such a leisure pace. It's like there's no pressure on finishing the book. And I felt like a lot, because I've read a lot of books, but I think that maybe for all 1,000 of them that I've read, I was always either looking for something in the book, like that's why I went to get the book, or I wanted another book. I wanted another like notch on my belt. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to knock out another book.
Yeah.
So I was just like reading to finish the book, not reading to enjoy the book. And whatever it is you're doing, the conclusion, if you keep doing it, is you're going to get better or you're going to finish it. But to do the thing to finish it, like you're living in the future, like you're trying to get through it. It's like listening to a song so that you can finish the song.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not why you listen to music. You listen to music to enjoy the music. Right. But we kind of forget about that. And, you know what I mean? We put so much fucking dumbass pressure on ourselves sometimes with these things. It's great to just have a good time. Just like chill out. And
that's, I swear that was just like the best argument for why like, oh, life is meaningless. We're all going to die.
Oh yeah.
Right. Like that's it. I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
In a nutshell. That's it. Like,
I think I brought that up with Mason, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, pulling out that nihilism, are we?
Yeah. I swear I will never understand nihilists. I will never get it. Like,
just in the sense of, just the whole idea that nothing matters or nothing matters. Let's just end it all.
I think, no, okay, that's stupid, right? That's dumb. But like, what I've come to realize is like, okay, a lot of shit sucks, right? Like, we know. Everyone knows shit sucks. Everyone knows, like, okay, if you get nihilistic, nothing has meaning, whatever. Put that on the back burner. Who cares? I feel like that's where, if you want to be alive and like live your life and actually live it, you gotta like throw that in the back. Who cares about that? Like, we know. Like,
you get the overall perspective, but you're saying, and then in practice, you're going to do what with it? Yeah. Like, what do you do with nihilism at the front of your mind?
Yeah.
What do you do? I mean, do you just constantly talk to other people and be like, you know what you're doing doesn't matter, right? Like, what do you do if nihilism is like the program that you work off of when you walk through the streets?
I think you like...
You either kill yourself,
gotta be sad,
or you're just constantly bringing misery. Yeah.
Like, you must be miserable at that point. Like, there's no way you can like walk around with
this feeling that there's really no reason for anything, and like let yourself get away with it. There's no way. And like, I mean, you've met those people, right? It's just like,
well, it's funny because this is the thought that people have about atheists. Is they feel like, well, if you don't, I mean, clearly religious people, but if they're like, if you think that all this just turns off, shuts off, like, then where's your moral compass? Like, how do you, know how to?
And
that's
a difficult conversation to try to like argue. It's a super long one, man. But like as I've like grown, I definitely understand more about that because I definitely I grew up with a Christian mom and a Muslim dad, right?
Okay.
So I was always like, I'm just an atheist. Like I'm nothing, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just science. Like you die, it's over. I was that person, right? Just like so long. And then I was like, yeah, it's kind of boring. It's kind of boring. And like okay, there's no point. There's no point to think like that, you know? Like if you can derive some meaning from being an atheist, show me. Like
so that's what's fascinating. Have you ever heard Ricky Gervais speak, the comedian?
I know who that is, but
So I've heard him speak about it as well as other biological evolutionary scientists and shit like that. But it's pretty much that it's that we don't understand things, or that maybe from the nihilist standpoint that nothing matters, that might give you a certain type of ease in life, right? So the way that you could use that is, well, things don't matter, really. Like, it's not that big of a deal, honestly. So, like, let me go ask this girl out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Like, what's it? She says no. Okay. So whatever. Like, none of this shit matters. I'm just going to go ask her on a date. Yeah. Like, you could like use it in that way, or I'm just going to go do whatever I want to do.
But the opposite end of that I think is way more awesome is being like, okay, it matters that I'm freaking out and nervous to go talk to this girl. Let me do it anyway. I think it's nothing. I don't think anything like doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know?
You like sensation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that it's like so beyond ridiculous that anything exists like this. I just think it's like the craziest thing ever.
It is.
Like what?
It is. It is.
Like,
oh, it's insane. I know. You say something like that and you just start looking around, right? It was just like the fact that we're here right now.
Yeah.
You're over there in that body and I'm over here in this body and we're communicating.
And it starts to like, eventually it just breaks down into being like the like, oh, like stoner talk.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. And I'm like,
totally okay with that.
I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah,
right.
Totally
because I think it's like,
I mean, it's insane.
Ridiculous.
It's insane. It's incalculable. It's inconceivable. Like, it's just all of the weird, just the multitudinous, innumerable factors that all come together to make every single moment happen at every single turn is insane.
Yeah. Just like you can even just like talk about like all the inanimate things, right? Like none of like the living beings, right? All that already blows my mind, right? That any of that even exists. And then you bring like consciousness into the mix, and it's just
fascinating about consciousness, because in that book about Taoism, they speak quite a bit about this, but that the human problem is consciousness. So for a lot of other animals, without it, or at a high level of it, at least, you just work. You just go off of instinct. You live. Mm-hmm. And then we wanted to get or not necessarily wanted to get, but we got smarter and more evolved. And then we became conscious of ourselves.
Yeah.
Right. Now we can look in a lake and we can look at a pond and see a reflection of ourselves. And then once you see a reflection, you're like, oh shit, that's me. Like, oh, I'm a thing out here too. And then you become self-conscious. Yeah. And then it starts to roll, and then you're put in a society where people are constantly looking and pointing at you, and you have to start doing all these things, socially speaking. And so the human problem being, now that we've achieved a level of consciousness, what do you do with it? Mm-hmm. How do you ameliorate all of the anxiety that comes from being a
Yeah.
conscious being,
Yeah.
right? And just trying to sever yourself away. In that particular philosophy, it is to do what they feel like is natural, getting back to a more natural state, like a child that is drawn to things and just does them, is in the flow of life and doesn't think too hard about who they are and what their role is in this whole thing.
Yeah.
Because then you're paralyzed or anxious or whatever about me, as opposed to just looking outward and doing things.
I really like that because it's kind of just saying, okay, experience things as they are, right? You're here, things are around you. What does that feel like? What do you feel about these things? What do you see? Right. And that's kind of how I like plan on not freaking out for the rest of my life. Right. Cause I'm sure you've experienced when you just get super existential for a second and then you like want to throw up. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
It can get I've been trapped in my mind.
Yeah,
I've been lost in my mind.
That hit me at the gym last week really hard because Jenna from work texted me because I'd ran into her at the library at school and we were talking about what I was writing about, which was just like it was like popular stoicism in like the modern era.
Yeah.
Right? So
you said it was the reemergence, right?
Yeah. So I was talking about how people are experiencing like a fleeting sense of like ontological security now. Right. And she was wondering what like ontological security is. Right. So I was explaining it. And as I was like texting what it was, I was like, oh God, do I have it? Like, do I have the security? Oh my God.
Hilarious.
It was, and then I like, and then I like, I have this thing because I mean I've had anxiety before, right?
Yeah.
So I like learned like a breathing method. I don't know what it's called, but you breathe in through your nose really hard, and then when your lungs are super filled up, you take like one last like through your
at the
nose.
top, yeah.
Yeah, and then you just let it out. And I was like, okay, we're good, we're back.
Yeah. For sure. No, that definitely is the case. And I've spoken to Marie about it ad nauseum at this point, that it's funny because people like want to know that they're happy. Like they want to know what the quality of their life is, which is fascinating. Because if you were, and I'm certain you have been, the moments in your life when you have been super locked into the thing you're doing, maybe you're running, maybe you're doing a fucking Rubik's Cube, whatever, maybe you're playing Smash, and you're in the zone, and there's no distance between you and the thing you're doing. It's all one thing. It's all one thing. Like your identity's gone. You're only experiencing at that point.
Yeah.
The last thing on your mind is like how am I doing?
Yeah.
Like how is my life? Is my life okay?
Yeah.
Like like am I okay? Is my mental health okay? Is like, do I have the right friends in my life? Am I like all these things that we're constantly thinking about to try to get our life on equilibrium? If you were just like in the zone experiencing, you wouldn't even think about those things.
Yeah.
So it's very fascinating that in this philosophy, it's the taking away of the thinking. Because in the Western world, we love intellectualism. We love to try to intellectualize everything and like try to explain everything that happens. But maybe you just don't have the fucking answers for them. And most of the time, that's probably the case. Like you just don't really fucking know why anything is happening or, you know, or why you're in the position that you're in. But I was explaining this to my friend the other day because he called me and he was like, Earl, how's life like in total? Like how's everything going? And I was like, dude, I'm on the phone with you right now. Like that's what I'm experiencing. Like I'm not trying to evaluate every pocket of my life and give it a grade. You know, like right now I'm talking to you. So right now life is good. Like I don't have, because you might be asking me how are you doing, and maybe to you yeah, like I should be speaking about the past. Like you would say, oh, well, last week I did this thing. It wasn't that great. You know what I mean? But that's gone. Like that's not even a thing anymore. The past is that'll never happen again. The past is gone. The future doesn't exist.
Future does not exist.
The past doesn't exist. The future doesn't exist. All that's not there. So I wouldn't even try to grab from those things to try to answer the question, how am I doing? Because that doesn't exist.
I think it's more just like, what am I doing?
What am I doing?
Like, because this is something that I think about a lot. Is just there's never the future and there's never the past, right? It's just this present moment, right? Because when you think about the future, the eternal now, yeah, it's like if you think about the future, like because sometimes you have to think about the future, right? Like, okay, I gotta like get my car inspection or something. When you're doing that, that's this same present moment.
Yes,
that's this moment.
Yes, yes,
and I just think that's like.
Everything lives here. Yeah, the future lives here. The past lives here because even if you try to think back in your memory, that's still now. Yeah, like that's just you conjuring up a memory now.
I've been thinking how I want to travel, right? And I'm like, oh, me in like a year or two is gonna have like an amazing experience, and I'm gonna be thinking about these things. And I was like, no. What if I close my eyes and I open them and I'm in like Venice? That's how it's gonna feel when I'm there. It's going to feel like how I feel right now, but I'm going to be in Venice.
You're going to be there.
And that's it. Right? Like, so I'm just like, so that's why a lot of things have been like, some things have been freaking me out, right? Because I'm like, okay, in the future, I'll be able to deal with it. The future is like right now. Yeah. Like, how am I going to be doing this?
Yeah.
Right?
I heard the quote that it was like, planning is only good for those that know how to be in the moment. So that therefore, when that quote unquote future comes, which will then just be now, right? Once that comes, you'll be able to enjoy it because you'll be there.
You'll plan for the things that will actually be happening to you and you'll actually be experiencing.
As opposed to planning for the future, but you don't know how to be in the present. So even once you get there, you're planning for the next thing. Yeah. So it's like...
Yeah. That's something that has helped me with my like lifting a lot. So every time I think about like if I'm going for like a max on whatever day, right? I get there, I freak out, right? Because you get like a crazy like rush of adrenaline, right? But now I can kind of just be like, okay, I'm going to have that feeling where I am like shaky, right? I'm like, oh, I'm not going to be able to do it, right? But I know what I need to do then, right? And then like I know what the adrenaline is. I can kind of like rationalize what everything is going to be before it happens. So like that rush of adrenaline, anytime you're doing something that gives you that is like, okay, my body is ready to focus on the task at hand. And I really think that's like a lot of people don't realize it. They just kind of let it do the opposite to them where they don't focus and they are focusing on something else. They're focusing on their anxiety and their breathing and stuff like that. But
do you take things like creatine?
I take creatine.
Or no, I'm sorry, pre-workout.
No.
Okay, I was about to say, I was like, that's a whole different thing because that'll have your body jumping.
Yeah. Creatine is, pre-workout is just like, like if I get
it
6
took me
hours,
a while to get out of there. To get out of that because like at first, I was a fucking junkie. Like my friend gave it to me the first time, and I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. Like you can just buy this at the store. Are you kidding me? Because I already liked Adderall at the time, so I was like, oh, this is Adderall for the body. I can just run around for hours. I can throw around whatever weight I want. This is great. But it's not good.
It's so bad for you. It's the worst thing ever.
It's
like I used to drink a lot of energy drinks, right? And I would be like, oh, like I'm gonna get a Bang this time, and then next time I'll get a Monster, and then a Reign. Like I'm so excited, right? It's so bad. And I feel like the funny thing about it is like I never really felt like the serious effects of caffeine happen. I was just like, oh, this is awesome. Like I must be experiencing it. The only times I really like felt like, about to explode was when I took Total War, which is like, it's like a bottle like this big and it's got like 360 milligrams of caffeine, and you take a sip of it and you're like, that shouldn't be going in anyone's body. So you like a drink a couple of those, that shit will have you going crazy. But yeah, like the caffeine effect of like feeling more awake, I never really got that.
Yeah, some people don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird, though, this biological like variability that we have. Where like it just doesn't seem to work.
Yeah.
Like my friend drinks Monster and stuff to help calm him down. He has ADHD, like very, very high ADHD. And we like made a clip, like some TikTok clip of him talking about how he'll drink a Monster to help him calm down and go to sleep. And I was like, really? Like that's kind of wild. Because he would come over and do the podcast with me, and it'd be like in the evening, and he's chugging them. I'm just like, dude, why are you? It's 6:30 p.m. Like, why are you drinking that? He was like, oh, trust me, I'm gonna go right to sleep after this. I was like, okay. We posted that little TikTok video, and so many people were commenting like, oh my gosh, I thought this was just me. Like caffeine doesn't do shit for me. Like, and it's like this ADHD community. Where they're like, this stuff doesn't work the same on us. Like it calms us down.
Yeah.
Just crazy.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, when they take Adderall, anyone that's been clinically diagnosed with it, truly, because some people you can just go get that shit. Like you can legitimately just pop up on your doctor and just be like, oh, I'm having trouble focusing. They'll be like, yeah, sure. Let me go ahead. 30 milligram extended releases. Here you go. 90 of them.
Yep.
But those things just calm them down. If I take it, I'm a crackhead.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Jeez.
I'm so focused. I'm like my jaw. I'm doing the lockjaw thing. I'm running around. I'm ready to do everything. I'm ready to accomplish everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That seems like situationally very useful.
Oh, for
Like
sure.
I know, yeah, people like abuse it, right? But like I've tried it like one time ever, just like from one of my friends who like gave me a few, and I took one the first time, didn't feel anything. I took two the next time, didn't feel anything. I took three the next time, still didn't feel anything. So
you don't happen to remember what they looked like?
They were little blue ones.
Oh, okay, so probably 10 milligram instant releases. That's what I've seen. But yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's like just like it's not enough to feel anything, or like
they're
a me thing.
They are. I mean, those are pretty weak, but 3 of them is very strong.
Yeah.
So the fact that you took 3 of them, but maybe how do you feel like your focus is?
Sometimes it's just not there.
Really?
Like sometimes I'll be when the smash gets really bad, I'll be in class and my hands will be like my hands will be playing with the controller.
Be like gesturing.
I'll be like,
I wonder if that's a part of the like thing like people do.
What?
You know what I mean? To like practice while you're not practicing. Like if you don't actually, like shadow.
Yeah.
Like shadow boxing, yeah, exactly. But you're just moving your hands around.
Yeah, I have no idea if people do that, but I like caught myself doing it in class, and I was like, okay, we gotta take a break. Like, we gotta take a break.
It was getting
because like
getting a bit obsessive.
Yeah. So I feel like I can hyper focus on things. I just can't really choose what things. So like
you just find yourself in the middle of some shit.
Yeah. So like I was telling you at work the other day, like there was a song in my head. Like I felt like it was playing, right? And I was like at my table trying to talk to them, but that song was too loud. Like it was playing too loud, and I was like trying to really focus on like if we started playing music really loudly right now and then tried to talk to each other, but like couldn't really hear, and I'd be like,
wow.
Yeah. I think that might be like a weed thing though. I think that might be a weed thing. Cause I feel like weed is a very good this is gonna sound wrong, right? I feel like weed will make you focus very well. I feel like it's a terrible filter for what you focus on. So you can't really decide what it is. So like people who like aren't really used to smoking a lot, like they'll get anxious and they'll just focus on their anxiety and they'll get like more and more anxious because of it, right? But if you're smoking and then you like start watching like TV, right? You're in the TV. You're inside of the TV, right? Like
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like you like even like I didn't think I could read after I smoked. I can.
Turns out.
Turns out I can. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I thought the same too. I used to be so weirded out when people would say that. They'd be like, "Oh yeah, just sit. I'm gonna go back home, smoke a little bit, open up a book." I'm like, "You're gonna read?
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna focus on a book? Really?" I was like, "There's no fucking way I could do that." Like I'm thinking I just gotta sit out on the couch and play a video game or something like that.
Yeah.
There's no way I can actually.
Oh my God, smoking and playing Melee it's a whole different experience for that game. Like,
a lot of people feel that way. You speaking of, by the way, of fighting, I've heard, do you know Joe Rogan?
yeah.
I've heard on his podcast, he talks, because he's heavily into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and that many people, even at a very, very high level, smoke and they, what do you call it? Spar.
Damn.
Yeah. Like, it's just, like, I imagine it's something similar to what you're talking about with Smash, or even more so when you stretch afterwards.
Yeah.
Like, you can feel the fibers just like, loosening up.
Yeah.
And you're like, that mind to body connection.
So I was
going to
say that I can't lift when I smoke, right?
Yeah.
I can't do that at all. I've tried a couple times. I don't know why.
But you lift heavy though, I feel like. Oh, well, see, yeah, lifting heavy is different than like doing body weight exercise. Like, you could exercise,
yeah.
but not, I wouldn't want to lift no fucking heavy weight after smoking either. That's crazy.
Yeah. But like, some people like it, right? And I don't really get it, because when I'm like lifting weights normally, it's like, okay, there's like a bunch of different things I got to focus on to make sure this weight doesn't kill me. Right. So then you smoke some weed and you're like, oh, like I really feel like my quads like engaging right now, and then your back is like, and then you drop the weight, and then it's like,
maybe
I don't know,
it's not for you.
It's not for me. So that's why it surprises me with the whole Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu thing is like doing like a very strenuous physical activity like that.
I think it's
so strange.
a feel thing, because again, I don't know what it's like, because I tried definitely in the past to smoke and exercise, and I feel like I can definitely do it. It's not optimum as far as like lung capacity goes. Just like I feel like I'm breathing heavier, quicker. But the heavyweight, I probably wouldn't even try that. But I feel like the jiu-jitsu type of thing is, because it's a feel thing.
Yeah.
Because it's such a flow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's a different kind of fighting for sure.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like, any other type of fighter would probably disagree unless it was like something else that had like a rhythm and like we're going back to this, like all fighting forms are also like art forms, right?
Yes.
Like any sort
ways of expression.
Yeah. It's all like a way to express yourself. Cause you can be creative with it, right? Like, have you seen like MMA fighters who just like go off script? They'll like jump off the wall and like kick someone in the face.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like crazy as hell.
Wild shit.
Like, it's awesome.
I had a friend that had a match a long time ago, and he was like, when I was in that cage with that guy, he was like, it was like honest communication. He was like, it was the most honest it could have been. He was like, we didn't say a word to each other. It's like, but the way that we moved and like the fight that we had was very honest. Like, that's the word that he chose to use.
Yeah.
Like, he was like, it was a very honest expression that we had in there. And I was like, oh,
that's really interesting.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
It is interesting. I mean, it's very intimate. Clearly, right? You got your fucking balls on someone's neck, and you just like, you know what I mean? You're trying to snuff people out, and your forearms all over like their forehead, or you're trying to crush their nose while you're trying to submit them and shit like that. Like, it's very, very like awkward and stuff like that. But because of the level of intimacy, and it's like, it's also the way that he had explained it. Joe Rogan was. He calls it high level. I think he says like high level chess with dire physical consequence.
Yeah.
That's
real. That's so real.
And just like the Rubik's Cubes guys or the chess masters being able to look at a chessboard and just know, oh, that's the 1972 opener over there in Germany. Like that. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, it's so crazy. Simply because they've just seen so many iterations of pieces moving around. They're not even like the calculations are out of the way. Like they're done thinking until it gets usually like mid to end game. That's when they have to really start calculating. Like the beginning, you're just moving stuff around because you just know instinctively how to move things.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happens physiologically with these Brazilian jiu-jitsu fighters.
Yeah.
Is like you've rolled with people a million times. You know what different moves are. You know how to get out of certain things. You know, and it's
Like
just
the most common situations are the ones that happen like the most like frequently, right?
Right.
So like those are the ones you're most used to, and then when you get to the like situations that come out of those that are a little less common, you see them less. That's when the creativity really starts to like show.
Yeah,
is what I think
that's
is really
weird
cool.
shit. Creativity's so weird that it works like that.
Yeah, because it works. That's. I mean, we were talking about that like with this shit, right? Like the like end part of this is where they get creative, right? Same thing to an extent in like melee, right? Same thing in like guitar, right? Like you can be really good at just playing like open chords and like be like really comfortable doing that. And then you add like the embellishments, you add the things between.
Yeah.
So
the weirdness in it, again, being in the West and thinking intellectualism and going through the steps and thinking your way through things is the fact that a lot of this comes when you're not thinking. Like a lot of the free form creativity that brings you to the next level is like happening. You're not trying to formulate it in your mind. Like it's taking place because you're just allowing something to flow through as opposed to you stepping in and doing the thing. And I've heard John Mayer talk about it. He's like, there are certain nights when I'm playing guitar on a stage, he was like, and I'm playing maybe in the middle of a solo and I start to feel that something new is about to happen. He was like, I don't know what it is and I don't know how to do it. Like, I don't know how to do what's about to happen because I've never done it before.
yeah,
But it's about
that's very interesting.
but it's about to happen. And I feel that it's about to break through. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful. That's such a beautiful way of just looking at
God, and that's
creative
so
capability.
universal to like anything you apply to. That's amazing.
It is.
Yeah.
It's like once
I feel
you
like-
get the fuck out of the way, so much more can happen.
I feel like when I try to do a new thing, right? Like maybe I don't want to be the best ever at it, right? But I want to get to that. I want to be able to let myself like, be creative with it.
Facts.
Right?
Facts.
So that's what I'm saying with like melee is frustrating me because it's taking a long time to get there just because it's like very whatever technical. You need a lot of time playing it, right? With guitar, even I feel like I'm like a little bit there.
Yeah.
Right? What else do I even do? Like, that's so cool.
It is.
That's so cool.
It's the coolest thing.
So like that's what the part that clashes with me, right, about that is that I am a very much like when I start fighting, I'm gonna learn exactly what I'm supposed to learn, right? And I'm gonna know like what to do and try to figure out what to do in what situations, right? So I'm a very textbook heavy person on anything I learn, right? Which is why I think it takes a little bit longer for me to get to the like super creative parts of things. Cause like, I'll be like, oh, but here, like I'm supposed to do this instead of just letting myself kind of like figure it out or like, and not think about it, just like figure it out on my own, without like someone being like, oh, you're just supposed to do this.
Yeah.
Cause like some people will, be creative in like a higher level than you. Right. Whereas something that's creative for you could be like their textbook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very, very different. I had a vocal coach at one point in time. I've done a lot of weird shit.
Wow.
Yeah. but I had a vocal coach for like a few weeks. It wasn't even that long.
Yeah.
Down in Florida. And she was like, do you want to know why kids can be so much better at things than adults? She was like, it's because they don't care about failing at all. They don't care because it doesn't, like, there's no stakes to them. They don't care. And so this is that pressure we're talking about again that we put on ourselves. She's like, you're young, you come out, you're screaming already, you're running around, you're being wild on the playground. people start telling you, shush, use your inside voice. Be quiet. Stop. And at a certain point in time, somebody has told you that a million times. So then you're a little bit more quiet and stuff like that. You're not a child anymore. Like now you use your inside voice. She was like, at that point in time, it's 10 times harder to teach that person how to sing.
Yeah.
A child, I can just tell them, hey, make this sound. They'll make that sound.
Wow.
They don't care. Because they don't give a fuck what you think about them. They don't even know that you thinking anything about
That
them
you think
means
about them,
anything. That you even think anything, that you could have an opinion about them.
Yeah.
They don't even know. So they're just like, make this sound. They're just like,
Yeah.
They don't care. And there's something about that. So sometimes I'm like, I know that there is the learning all the steps, and then at some point in time being able to like let that loose. Cause then now it's in my body. I can just do the thing, right? And be more creative. But sometimes I wonder if there's like other ways of doing it, and then you don't have to go through those. Like there's some people, I mean, they're also just freaks of nature out there. I was at a music and art center one time, and there was this little boy that walked in, and he looked like fucking like a better looking Justin Bieber. And he just walked in there and picked up a guitar and just started playing beautiful music. Yeah. And I was like, hey man, how long you been playing? He was like, oh, I've never played before. He was like, but I like this guitar though. You know what I mean? Like, he was like, I feel it. You know what I mean? Like I pluck the things, and to me, it makes sense. Like I know if I move my hand here, it should sound something like this. And I'm like, that's some freak shit right there. But it's beautiful. Yeah. It's beautiful that you can just feel music that way. Mm-hmm. So, and he had zero training. It's wild. That's
ridiculous.
It's just very weird.
Yeah.
It's very, very weird. But for everything that you're up to though, I'm excited to hear you get to points of being able to feel like you have the confidence to just do it and just
I'm excited too. That's why I'm like keeping on like going.
Yeah.
Like I let you know earlier that there was like a day that I had like that shrooms experience or whatever. And that like really felt like the first day of my life. Right. Like ever since that point, I feel like I've just been doing everything for the first time. And it's been an incredible like ride so far. And I'm like terrified for the rest of it, but it's like the scariest roller coaster of all time. Right? Yeah. Like you're super excited, but you're shitting yourself while you're in line,
Yeah, that sounds like a quote that I heard that was like, a person has two lives, and the second one begins when they realize that they only have one.
That was damn. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like things just open up, and you're like, what was I looking at before? Like, what was I... what was I interfacing with?
What was I doing? I have no clue what I was doing before that. Like, I tell people this, right? And I tell them about like how like after like, oh, it was awesome, right? I don't know what the hell I was doing before. Like
you
high
can't
school,
even think back to
like high school. Yeah. What did I do?
Yeah, like
was I just stupid the whole time? Like, and no one told me. Oh my god, it was so crazy.
Well, yeah, I mean, the younger you are, you're just running around like nothing. Yeah. You know what I mean? You just run. You're just saying. You're just making noises and stuff like that. You're not really.
Yeah.
You're just making noises at each other.
Yeah, and then I was like, wait, I get to do everything too. Like everyone gets to experience this. I'm one of those people that get to experience it. So I was like, let me try to do it as freakishly awesome as I can. So I'm like, I don't know, the rest of my life, I'm just going to be trying to experience as many things as I possibly can. And then maybe eventually I won't want to do that. Yeah. I have no idea. Yeah. I was thinking earlier, I was like, oh, like, why do people just like settle down after a certain age and stay in one spot? And I'm like, I was thinking about it. I'm like, okay, like from a different perspective, I'm like, that sounds nice. Maybe like, I just have no idea what I'm going to want. Right. So like learning the things I'm going to like is really exciting for me. Like, I I feel like this is like a
and allowing yourself to do them.
Yeah.
Not feeling bad of just like, oh, like I kind of feel like I want to leave this past behind, but like
Yeah.
some of us, we cling to the life.
Yeah.
They're like, we're no longer like we're evolving out of it.
Some people are very like loyal to their identity, right?
Indeed.
And they're like afraid to like become something else. And I think that if you're able to just like let everything hit you as it's supposed to, and you just take in whatever you can, and you feel how you feel how you feel, right?
how you feel.
Not how you're supposed to feel, right?
I like that you clean that up.
Yeah, I was about to mess it up. But so that like brings me back to a quote that I think about like every single day, where I'm like, so the quote goes like, what is your 20s if not a string of the ghosts of the person you once thought you might become? And it like freaks me out sometimes, because so like we talked about music earlier, like I love music so much, right? There was like 2 weeks in the middle of January where I like just wasn't really into it. I was listening to like 2010s like club music.
2010.
And I was like,
what's 2010 club music? What's good? What's club? What type of club are we talking about
like,
too?
Let's say like, man, I don't know. 2010s, I was like 13 or some shit. But I was like listening to that, and I was like wait, like a month ago, I was like doing everything I can to learn as much as I can about music. Like, is that not the person I'm going to become? And it like freaked me out. And then I was like, I got it back. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
But like the fact that can happen with like whatever, it's just like incredible. Like I'm ready to go out and embrace whatever changes, right? I know it's going to be hard as shit. It's going to be so hard to try and change like a lot of the things that I've come to really be familiar with. Like one thing that really freaks me out is like in 10, 20 years, somehow I'm not going to be as close with all my friends as I am right now, right?
Indeed.
And I'm like, how? How could that how could that ever like my friends are like I've had the same like 5, 6, 7 people in my like close circle for like since like freshman year of high school, right? I still see them like basically every day, right? And I'm like, how can I accept if maybe it'll happen because I want to go like teach English somewhere, right? How am I going to move away for 6 months and like not see anyone? It's just like,
yeah.
But I know there's going to be amazing things if I do that too. There's going to be like the most amazing experiences ever, and I'm just going to keep experiencing new things. And I'm just,
especially with your mindset, you're headed in a good path. Yeah. You're very open, and I think it's not just because I think that you're smart or funny because you're super funny. It's not like these characteristics. It's just that you're open and you're easygoing, and that's hella fucking important, because I think most of what we deal with when it comes to anxiety is feeling like you're not comfortable enough in a space to allow and be whatever it is at that moment, feel whatever you feel in that moment, be attracted to whatever you're in that moment. And that could be because maybe you've had parents that are overbearing, or your friends aren't really fucking with you, or your significant other that you chose isn't allowing you to be who you are, right? And they got you chained up in the fucking house being somebody else, some other version of you that you don't really jive with well. And it's just that over and over and over. But I think that you'll be fine.
And I know I'll be fine.
The friends thing though, that definitely, I know when you're young, there's nothing to do but hang out with your friends.
Because when you said like the anxiety comes from like not being comfortable with just being able to like let yourself just be there and experience, right? I feel like my friends have just let me do that so much that it feels like hanging out with anyone else, I have to like, I got to be that like awesome guy, you know? I can't like. You know, when I'm with my friends, sometimes I'll like complain or like be a little annoying or be like an asshole or whatever, and I'm like,
Feels good.
Yeah. Yeah. But like they know me, right?
Yeah.
They know me better than like any group of people has ever known me. And I'm like, I know they're not gonna like stop being my friend if I like, like fart in front of them or some shit, right? Like some stupid shit like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it'd be like that. That's why it's very, very disheartening when people do not have any of those people.
Yeah.
Like anyone around them that allows them to just be them. Like everyone around them is hypercritical of everything that they're doing constantly, and then therefore they are hypercritical of themselves.
Yeah.
And they just get no time to be that person and just sit back and relax. That's why when you came in here and you said this place is cozy, that's why, because this is the haven. This is the safe haven where it don't matter. Just everything here is cool.
Yeah. Like I'm saying, like even with that, like I feel like you and like Mark and Mason and whoever, like y'all let me do that too. And I like really appreciate that. You guys are like very real people, right? Like I feel like people who do that are very aware of themselves and how they're like existing in the world and doing everything, right? So I'm here, I'm chilling, and I'm like very glad our paths crossed.
Yeah,
right.
It just doesn't make any sense to me to resist who other people are. Like, and that extends out to the world. Just constantly resisting life, like things around us. You're in the fucking traffic jam, and you're just upset because you're in a traffic jam.
Yeah,
you're not changing a fucking thing about that traffic jam.
And then instead of like seek to understand is like what I think about a lot when I'm talking to people or whatever. And I'm talking to like people at work, and I'm like, they'll be telling me some stupid story, right? And I'm like, I want to know like what you really feel about this story. Like, I'm not gonna give an example. That'd be terrible. But I'm just like, I try really hard to get into other people's heads, right, and see like where they're at so far, right? Because it is a so far kind of thing, right? They're gonna learn more. I'm gonna learn more. You're gonna learn more. Everyone's gonna learn some more. But like, I don't know. You just can't be critical of where someone's at.
Yeah,
because everyone's got a different way of like learning shit, right?
Well, that goes when I was talking to you the other day about effort. It was like so many people that feel that their social battery is constantly drained because they have to speak to other human beings, whether it be for the job or whatever the case is. And I swear, I think that a lot of it is just based upon. Now, I also understand. Listen, I'm not a social scientist. I don't know what extroversion and introversion means as far as DNA goes. Yeah. So I don't know how deep it goes physiologically speaking. Yeah. But theoretically speaking, I think a lot of effort is made where it doesn't have to be. So fighting in general, well, not in general, specifically for judo, that's exactly what judo. Did I ask you if you watched any of the John Wicks?
No.
Did you watch any of the John Wicks? Well, John Wick he's Keanu Reeves. He's running around. The people, very easy story. People killed his dog. He's killing everyone now.
Okay.
Right?
That's about what I thought it was.
He uses guns in judo. He doesn't, he may strike someone one time, but it's always just like guns and flipping people and using their momentum against them, right? And I think that is ultimately like what's going on in life. But I think that we're always like resisting at the wrong time. So we're using muscle and effort when it's unnecessary. And I think that there's a whole lot more like relaxing you could do. And so like a punch is thrown and you just very lightly just move just a couple inches out of the way instead of making this huge swoop out of the way, which costs more energy. You just know all you have to do is move like 2 inches to the right or something like that. Catch their arm, put it down. You know what I mean? Like living life in that sort of way so you're not expending as much energy. Yeah. Now I think that there's a way of just going about that in life. But we're too in our heads to do that. So maybe you're serving, whatever your job is in customer service, you're constantly feeling as though you're putting on a mask, like you're being someone else for other people. But if you got to a point where you felt like you didn't have to do that, and you could just, of course, you're not just gonna be walking up to people and be like, "Yo, what the fuck is up? How we do?" Right? Because there's still like some sort of
standards.
You know what I mean? But aside from that, it's kind of just like maybe how you'd speak to your grandma or some or your family members without all of the like real ruckus and disruption and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. I started doing that when I like accidentally had to talk to my dad while I was like pretty stoned, and I'd like never done that before.
Oh yeah.
And I was just like talking to him, and I was like, oh shit, like I'm just like I'm just talking to this guy. He's just a guy now. Like he's just a guy that I'm talking to. And then I did it again. I mean, like, okay, I don't intentionally do this because you know, but I was going to Costco with my mom, and like the whole time we were just having like this crazy conversation that I was like, I've never had a conversation like this with my mom ever in my life. And I'm like, okay, like now that I know that this is possible, like let me try to like just do this all the time. And it's been like that pretty much for a while now. And it's like, okay, I'm talking to my parents like they're just like, you know, people. Like it's their first time here too. Like,
right.
Like,
their first time here too. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're both figuring this shit out.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. I'm like looking at my mom and I'm like her friends are coming over and she's like getting all her shit ready. I'm like, she wants her friends to like her.
Right.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Like I do that too.
Yeah. You want your friends to like you. Yeah. I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just,
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I've grown to like, I don't know. I have, I think a lot more genuine like love and respect like for my parents now than I did when I was like, I guess like a kid. Cause like I get it. Like I don't know how the hell you raised me.
Yeah.
I was a little shit.
Yeah, me too.
For a long time.
Yeah.
I was a little shit until like I was like, nah, I'm still. I was
about to say, yeah, mine was like I was a pretty good kid, and then like as I was able to start getting out and doing stuff, that's when I started getting in a whole lot more trouble. Yeah, just I never understood like why I can't do like what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know, it never made sense to me. Like, what are you talking? Like, I never felt like I got adequate answers for why that was the case and why I had to do things other ways. I just didn't.
And now I'm like taking on like different roles, right? Like in my community or whatever. So like when I was a kid, there were a lot of other kids in the neighborhood, right? And there were some like, you know, like teenagers and like young adults or whatever that would like and be like, well, like they're just lame as hell. Like, what are they talking about right now? And like now I'm that guy, and I'm like talking to like my like. I think she's like a fourth grader, like little neighbor, and she's like jump roping. And I'm like, do you know how to do like a double under? And she's like, no, I don't. And I'm like, do you want me to teach you? And she's like, okay, but like, I'm not on the jump rope team, so I don't know if I can do it. And I was like, I've probably said, I've probably had that thought process when I was that age. And I'm like, okay, let me try to see like what I can do for you. Like, let me try to see if I can like maybe shift like, because I mean, obviously not just like the jump rope thing, right? Yeah. Like there's like something there that's like, okay, that's part of like learning that whatever lesson it is. And I was like, all right, like we're going to get you this stupid double under. Let's do it. Yeah. And I mean, like she got it. I was like,
oh, she did it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I was
confidence
like,
boosted.
Yeah. I was like looking at her. I was like, it's so easy. Like I can do it. I'm not on the jump rope team.
Sometimes people just need to know that they just need to see someone else and be like, oh, that's an option. Like I can do that. I didn't know I could do that before. Yeah. Now I know.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's not on the jump rope team.
Yeah. And I'm not like a fourth grade girl either. Like
no.
Yeah.
You're out there. That's very nice. What do you mean taking a different role in the community exactly?
I don't know. Just like not like an active role, right? But like I remember I have like cousins, like family friends, right? That I would like hang out with, and there was like the like older brother of them, and he was just like this like far off figure that like didn't really make sense to me, and now I'm that to them, but they make sense to me, right? So I want to try and be like. I don't want to be just like super obscure to, I guess, like younger kids.
Yeah,
right.
I know what you mean. Just some abstraction.
Yeah.
Like, he's just some fucking adult. It's this tall, big thing over there.
And like even recently, I've been feeling like that because I'm like So I live down like a pipe stem, right? I live at the very end of it. And the neighbors in front of us, like they've known us forever. They've been there. But the ones that like are to my like left, they moved in like maybe 3-4 years ago and they have a bunch of young kids. And I feel like, I mean, I don't really like talk to them ever. I like, you know, I drive them.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I feel like I could be more than just that random neighbor that like you like awkwardly decide to either nod at or not nod at sometimes, right? Like, I don't know what it is, but
Yeah.
like,
Has anyone ever? And it's so fascinating that I just started hearing this term so much recently. Girl dad. You just yeah. Does anyone ever say boy dad? Is that also a thing?
I don't think people say it, but I think that's like the implied.
It's just like the other thing.
That's like what the dad is, because I mean,
Yeah, just so like regular dad is like
boy dad.
is just,
Yeah, because I think that's like the thing is like, oh, like all dads like want a son, right?
yeah.
I mean, I'm the youngest of 3, and I have 2 older sisters, and I feel like there would be a 4th if I was a girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Stuff like that. So
We're gonna keep trying.
yeah,
Yeah, someone told me at work, they were like, it was Brooke, the food runner.
Yeah.
She came up to me. She was like, so I was talking to Dilrook, and I was talking to him about you know, being a girl dad. And he was like, Earl's not a girl dad. Earl's not even a dad. And her mind was blown because she just assumed that not only I had a child, but the child had to have been a girl. She was like, you just give off very strong dad girl energy. And so I was very curious about this. So I started asking other women, and they're all just like, absolutely.
I think it makes sense.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense. I mean, I feel like that term may have come around because, like, you know, if you're a father and you have like 3 daughters, right? Like that's gonna affect you way differently than if you have like 3 sons, right? It's gonna give you like different sort of like qualities and everything. And I feel like those qualities are something you associate with that just because like, you know, shit sucks. But like, I mean, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Brooke's so funny for that.
She was fucking hilarious.
So funny.
Yeah. She was like, I don't know. I just thought you had a daughter.
Oh my god, she's the sweetest.
She is.
Yeah.
She's so sweet.
Yeah.
I love Hawaii.
What?
She's from Hawaii.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, you didn't know that? Yeah. Hawaii's great. They churn out amazing people.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful place. Place I went last year, didn't hear a horn honk once.
Wow.
Not once.
Where'd you go?
Maui.
Nice.
Yeah, didn't hear a horn honk once.
That's
like
awesome.
everyone would just let people go.
Yeah.
It's so funny how just
I
like
hate
climate
cars.
and everything just changes the way that people are going to be, and like, just everyone's there, just like, I'm in no rush.
That's nice.
Get over.
I freaking hate cars.
Cars, like not people in car. Just
Like,
what do you
Just
hate?
like car-based infrastructure. Just like all of it. Like I
what
feel
you
like
don't
we
like.
went too far. You know, I feel like we weren't supposed to do this. And like sometimes I'll be like, okay, that car is kind of sick, right? And it'll like do the thing where they like, you know, I'm like, okay, like I'm a boy and that's awesome, right? But then I'm like,
You tapped into something. You got me a little bit.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, I visited my sister in Spain like last year, right? And I was just like walking around. And I was
Yeah.
well, why did we ever stop doing this? Like just walk around. Like
There are certain things that I also feel that way about. Most things. Where I feel like we didn't need an eighth of the shit that we had. Like we don't need a lot of this.
Yeah.
It's like, but that's also stems from human creativity.
Yeah.
Like you can't stop people from like wanting to know what's next. What else, how else can I build this thing? Like how else can I make it efficient or effective? Like, or just cool.
Yeah.
How can I just make it look cooler? Like just people are never going to stop doing that. And it may very well be the death of us all.
No, for sure, man. Yeah. It's over. It's all over. But like
That's a legitimate concern when people talk about having children.
yeah.
They're like,
I
like
think
people
about
are
it a lot.
legitimately just like, I don't know. Like, I want to believe that I can protect my children and put them in a nice place, but I don't know where the world goes from here. People, especially people that are very tapped into like politics and global news and all that sort of stuff, which I am not, they're probably terrified.
Yeah.
Because they're just always feeling like we're on the brink of a war or who, like, we just don't know.
Yeah. So that's something I've been thinking about, or not have been thinking, but like have thought about a lot. I used to think it was like pretty selfish. That used to be my take on like why if you want like your own kid instead of just like adopting, right? And like that's a conversation that people have a lot, right?
Yeah.
But then I kind of got to being like, if the world, let's talk about this as if the world wasn't fucked up and gonna it's not over in 50 years, yay, right? I feel like it's not selfish to want to have a child just because it's like I've experienced and am experiencing how incredible and how ludicrous and how just absurd it is that like you can have a life and you can experience it and you can live it, right? And just giving that to someone to be able to let them experience it too, I think it
doesn't sound like a bad idea.
Doesn't sound like a bad idea. Like it might suck for a while. Like it might suck, but
you'll get over it. You'll find the beauty
eventually.
I think that's
you have to figure it out, or it's over.
I think or it's over. I think that's what you would want to do, right? More than, and I think maybe that's what you would want to do above all else is like if I'm gonna bring someone here, right? Because who knows what the fuck happens? Because I don't know what happens tomorrow.
Yeah.
So who knows what happens? But if I'm gonna bring someone here, more than trying to make sure that they're on the straight and narrow and get a good job or whatever the case is that people are constantly thinking about, I need to find a way to help them learn how to appreciate life.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm bringing them here against their will. So, like, you ever give someone a gift or just known anyone to get a gift? Maybe you were the person that received the gift and like the gift wasn't that awesome.
Yeah.
The person that got you the gift thought it was a great gift. That's why they bought it and they wrapped it up and they gave it to you. And you're like, oh my God, this you shouldn't have.
Like
this
really, like you shouldn't have.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the gift of life can be like that.
Yeah.
Where they're just like,
sure.
Thanks, Dad, but you could have not. You could have just not. I could have just not dealt with any of this shit. You could have just left me in the ether somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I think that's like, that should be your goal if you have kids, right? Like do that. And then what I was saying about like being like someone in the community and like talking to these kids is like, okay, they're not my kids, right? But everyone around me is going to be like searching for that thing, right? And maybe I can give them like a tiny nudge. Right. Maybe I can like sway them to like think about something that'll like lead to another revelation. Right. I think like the thing about having kids is like, that's where you have like the most amount of influence. Right. But yeah, I mean, I think like everyone wants to feel that security, right? Like everyone does. No one wants to feel like the ground beneath them is crumbling at all times. Cause like 90% of people, that's what they feel like. Right. Like everyone's like, barely got their head above the water.
Yeah.
So that like brings me to like my like core beliefs is like we're here to help each other and we're here to like make art.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's what you said.
Yeah.
Which is pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we help each other and we express ourselves and we express what we think it means to be alive or what we think is like cool or what we think is like, you know.
Yeah. Anytime you do anything, it's just like you pointing towards something that grabs your attention at that moment for whatever reason. And that's what you're interested in right now. And like that's what it is you do. Yeah. I think that life in totality is pretty much just like the music in that you're not listening to it to get to the end of it. It doesn't necessarily even mean anything. It's just it. It's just that. And you can appreciate that. You can enjoy that. You can investigate that, observe it, or you can not, or you could resist it. You could hate it. You could criticize it. But I feel like in life, just experiencing, just noticing that everything can be like that. Like you don't have to give some grand meaning to everything. It's just like maybe it just is, and I'm just gonna enjoy it that way. As you were saying, seeing things for what they are, which is very, very, it's much easier said than done.
Yeah, for sure.
And that is what is not playing in people's minds. What's playing in their mind is the story that they're telling themselves about everything that's going on, which you link your identity and your personal feelings to. And then that's when you get swept up in like a bunch of shit that's just like, it's not even happening. Like it's not even like a real problem.
Yeah.
You just created one in your mind.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a very, very tough one for people to get to. But having kids and not appreciating life yourself, even though it's kind of like a job of sorts to help them find that appreciation because you fucking brought their ass here, that's tough.
Yeah.
If like you don't appreciate it, how the fuck?
Yeah. Like what was the point of bringing them? Like what are you gonna appreciate it because of them now? Like
you're gonna be like, all right, so I brought you here. Now the point of me bringing you here was that you could make a lot of money. All right, buy a big house.
Yeah.
Get a dog, wife, whatever the case is. Like, that's the point of life, all right? That's why I brought you here, okay? It wasn't to walk around and appreciate shit with your fucking feet in the grass, all right?
Yeah.
Grounding.
It wasn't to see how everything is so beautiful and poetic if you look deep enough. Which it is, and it's awesome. It's so cool. I just like, so every time, or not every time, because I haven't done shrooms many times, but the times that I did do it, it just seemed like everything that I looked at was just like comically poetic. Like like that's silly. Like does anyone else see this? Does anyone else see how like beautiful the sky is, right? Like that's stupid. Like come on. I don't know. I just feel like it's like there is so much to be appreciated and so much to like really just look at for so long. Like I don't know. There's not a single person that's ever lived that's like done everything that you can do. There's not a single person that's had like the perfect life, right? But like if you strive for it, if you look at the sky every day and you don't miss it once, like that's something that you can check. You can check off, right? Like okay, nice. The sky on the way here was phenomenal.
I saw her by the window just taking photos. Oh my god,
it was ridiculous. I was in like the giant parking lot and I was like, what? Okay, first of all, we're at a fucking grocery store and it's this good. Like
doesn't matter. You can find it everywhere.
It's
the abundance
crazy.
Is all around us at all points in time. It's just a matter of whether you're tapping into it or not. That's the beauty of it. It's like if it's not there, if you're not feeling it, that's a you thing.
Yeah. And it's always there.
It's there.
Yeah. So that's why I'm like, so there was like a day at work. I think this was last like Saturday or something. I just came in and I just felt like shit. Right. Like I was just like, I just stand there and I was like, I woke up like pissed off. I don't know.
Woke up pissed off.
Like just like, like I don't know what it was or like anything. And I was just thinking about it. I was like, how do I fix this? Because I know I can like, you know, just like really appreciate like a normal day, right? And just have a good day if I want to. But I don't know how to draw it out of myself. And I was like standing by like the window at side stand, and Carlos comes up to me. He's like, "What are you doing?" Because I'm like looking out the window like that, right? Like I'm in like a movie or some shit. And he's like, "What are you doing?" Like dumbass. And I like started laughing at him. I was like, okay. Okay. All right. And then I like as the night went on, I just like stopped thinking about it. And I just started like laughing at the stupid shit that happens at work. And I was like, oh, right. You just gotta experience whatever it is. You can't think about it.
Yeah, right. Definitely wildly comedically poetic. I'll end with this. Devin, I had asked the new chick Alia. I had asked her what she would be doing if she wasn't at work at the time. And she told me she'd probably be doing a late night gym session. I asked her if she enjoyed it or if it felt like a chore. I think that's why a lot of people don't exercise, because it feels like a chore, like something it's the same thing, this pressure of like something I have to do or else I'm going to feel bad about myself or not, you know, as opposed to just going and doing whatever it is that you like to do as far as exercise goes, so it can be fun. It can be a fun thing you can do. And she asked me the question back, and I was like, well, you know, I pulled out a dusty guitar, a dusty Spanish classical guitar from the closet, and I took all the strings off, and I went to Music and Arts Center. I got some new nylon strings and I restrung it. And I'm trying to get back into that. So I'd probably be at home just going through some scales and trying to play some stuff. And Devin was like, everything you say sounds like the beginning of a Japanese haiku. He was like, it all just sounds like extremely poetic. And I just thought that was hilarious. So at least in that moment, Devin was in on it, and he noticed the comedic poeticism of just like a simple thing. Because to me, that was my day. Like, it was a very simple thing. I pulled a guitar out, I restrung it, whatever. But to him, he was like, how poetic. Yeah. Like, how funny of you to be sitting at your house doing this.
I think it's just like the most simple things that are just like why would I even be thinking about what I'm doing right now if what I'm doing is normal and what I'm doing is human? And it's
right.
That's what people do.
Yeah. Like, you tell someone you're sitting out, you know, while the wind was blowing in a field of grass, and it'd be like, oh, very poetic, but it's very normal. Yeah. It's a human sitting on the ground.
And like the same thing about like we were talking about earlier, just like walking around in the grass, like with your shoes and socks off.
Very nice. Like, it's getting warm out. I'm ready to go. I'm planning a couple camping trips this year. Definitely, I'm about to hit a hike on Monday. I'm real excited about. My nephew was born today.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah, but I mean,
not to you.
Yeah. I guess. Congrats to the world.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Should we cheer? Should we laugh?
I don't know. Yeah, man. So 10-pound baby. My brother was very large, man. Yeah. So this. Did I tell you he did? Yeah. Well, C-section.
Okay.
Yeah. Not necessarily that feels good, but you know. Yeah, he also did a whole lot of weight competition stuff too. Like, it's just like gross amounts of weight that scare me when I like watch someone do stuff like that. I can't watch it. It's tough. Because if I see someone's knee go to the side when they're fucking squatting 685 pounds. Yeah. Anywho. So yeah, that was a celebration today that happened down in Florida. Quinn Hooks.
Nice.
Entered the world today.
Nice.
It'll be interesting because I love
that your last name is a verb.
Hooks. Yeah. And a noun.
But it's like funny that it like anytime someone's last name is a verb, it's like, oh, this person doing thing. That's hilarious.
She met someone yesterday, first name Rush.
Rush? Nice.
On the birth certificate.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, this is going to be an interesting thing because it's a relationship that just spawned, right? I'm not the father, but I'm related to this child now.
Yeah.
Right. So it'll be interesting to see what that means in the future. Like, I've never been an uncle.
Yeah. So
that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Uncle Earl. Like, who the fuck is that guy going to be? It's the same way you're looking. Like, what is that kid going to see, you know, from this tall ass dude? Like, what does that dude mean to him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's gonna be an amazing like journey.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting for sure.
Yeah. The first time you meet him is gonna be like, all right, like okay.
There's nothing here for us but evolution and experience. That's just like that's all that's ever happening is just us, you know, living, experiencing, growing. Yeah, it's all that's happening.
Yeah, and I can't wait. I mean, like we talked for I don't even know how long, but. You know, at the end of the day, I still feel like I don't know anything.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll ever feel like I know anything.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, shit's freaky.
Yeah.
Shit is freaky.
Yeah, I'll just live in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just live in that. And fuck it. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah.
That's a great place to leave off at. Let's do that. And by the way, to answer your question, an hour 42.
Nice.
Nothing too crazy. Almost 10 o'clock at night. Let's go see what this woman's doing and talk about some other things.
All right.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Anyone that listens to this, thank you. Thank you for coming, man.
Thank you for having me.
You're awesome. I appreciate
awesome.
you. This is awesome. I'm glad we got around to doing this. Peace.